My friends, Putin recently gave an interview, and in that interview he claimed something so out of this world I couldn't make this up even in my wildest dreams. As a Russian propagandist, I wouldn't dare to make this up. We're gonna watch the whole interview, but I'm gonna give you a sneak peek. Do you have your popcorn? So, Putin publicly in this interview claimed that the West has put their Jewish puppet, he's talking about Zelensky, to lead Ukraine in order to hide the West and Zelensky's anti-Semitic and Nazi sympathies. What? How out of the box can this guy think? Where does this come from? We're gonna get to it, but before, I have some other information for you. For example, here is a video of Ukrainian soldiers discovering themselves suddenly surrounded by 5 Russian anti-personnel and 5 Russian anti-tank mines. Now this is a field, fully grown, the bush is hiding them so well, it's very difficult to see them, very difficult to demine them and to move around in general. If there were no mines, you could just ride over this field with the tanks and the infantry would follow in the tank's tracks, which is taking away the bush, but you cannot do that because there are mines, and this illustrates perfectly why the movement, the advancement of the Ukrainian armed forces is so slow. The bush is fully grown, filled with mines, and there's so many of them. The mine, a simple anti-tank dumb mine, has proven to be the most effective Russian weapon against the Ukrainian counteroffensive. Now Ukraine obviously concentrates their deminers in a certain area to clear through a channel through the Russian lines, which they have done. And then they will funnel all of the armor and infantry through that tunnel because it's safe. But then the Russians will target that tunnel, target that channel through the lines, and immediately it's a choke point, and you could say a kill box. So either the mines are effective or it's the concentrated artillery on the kill box. These are the difficulties. But now we go to the southern front on the map. Between Nova Prakopivka and Verbove, there is this Surovikin line where the Ukrainians have breached the line. And in this video you can actually see the dragon's teeth. Of course, don't mind the destroyed Russian tanks. Well, do mind it, cool. The area the soldier is filming is around here, just in between those two settlements. And he has crossed the Surovikin line. So these dragon's teeth, they're quite useless there. And we can see it from afar from the Russian occupied side of the line. But what is happening near Nova Prakopivka? You see, these are the defenses before the settlement. These black lines right here, they have dragon's teeth, anti-tank teachers, and Ukrainians have penetrated through them. Today we got information that they have liberated the infantry positions on this line. And they're following down this highway right here. Of course, we zoom in, we see a forest belt. Now these infantry positions, these trenches over these fields, for example, yeah, Ukraine liberated them. But you can be sure this forest belt leading to the settlement itself is filled with foxholes and fighting positions. So the entire way to the settlement is a fight. These fields are mined, these fields are mined, and this forest belt filled with troops and infantry fighting positions. So it's gonna be a slow struggle as it always has been. Now, my friends, the moment you have been waiting for, actually, Putin. I'm not even gonna say anything. Let's watch it and get ready to get your mind twisted. May I ask you for an important clarification? We just heard your dialogue about how many Jewish people were killed by Nazi collaborators in Ukraine. First of all, we're talking about civilians in the Soviet Union as a whole. It turned out that it was over 13 million people. And then a separate question was asked about the tragedy of the Holocaust and the murder of Jewish people. Then the logical question is, how does all this relate to the fact that modern Ukraine, with all what is happening there now, is led by an ethnic Jew? After all, Western leaders are always pointing out to Russia that what kind of Nazism is there if they have a Jew at the helm? Zelensky is Jewish. Yes, I've already mentioned that. I probably can't add anything new, but I think it's important to repeat it, namely that the Western supervisors put at the head of a modern Ukraine a man who is an ethnic Jew with Jewish roots, with Jewish ancestry. And in this way, in my opinion, so now we get to Putin's opinion, get ready, eat your popcorn, they cover up the anti-human essence, which is the foundation, the basis of the modern state. So the basis of modern Ukraine in the eyes of Putin is the anti-human essence and the Nazism. That's the basis. That's how he sees it. It makes the whole situation extremely disgusting that an ethnic Jew covers up the glorification of Nazism and covers up those who head it. My God. At the time, the Holocaust in Ukraine, which was the extermination of 1.5 million people. My God, how twisted this guy is. I honestly feel Israel is obliged to react to this somehow. I want to see a stronger reaction from Israel, stronger military support towards Ukraine from Israel. This is, in essence, anti-Semitic talk from Putin. He's making comparisons that cannot be in the same sentence, that are worlds apart. So if that wasn't enough, I have another video for you that recently surfaced where Putin is discussing with General Shoigu and some others World War II. And we get to again take a look into his twisted mind, how he sees history. The attitude of the world to the events related to the preconditions of the beginning of the Second World War. Its course and its results in many respects give an understanding of the modern processes. And new meanings and challenges of the time clearly show that in 1945 Nazism was defeated, but unfortunately it has not been eradicated. Yeah, true, it has not. And one of the biggest carriers of Nazism and their sympathies is Russia, actually. It is so strange how the Russian propaganda works of accusing every other state, the West, the Ukraine, of doing these things. And then, like in the kindergarten, they're teaching these C symbols and dressing up children like Hitler Youth did. The same way, teaching them from a very young age and glorify Russia as a superior nation. Sound familiar? It is manifested again in the same Russophobia or anti-Semitism. So he's accusing of Russophobia. Everybody is our enemy. We are the best. We are the greatest. They're all just afraid of us. They have this phobia and the glorification of Nazi criminals. Direct propaganda of Nazism in the Baltic. What countries? That's my country, Estonia. Baltic. Oh boy. In Ukraine also have become the norm. It is as if Nuremberg never existed. There are no international laws prohibiting such actions. Moreover, history has been used as a weapon of ideological struggle, and we need an adequate instrument. Again, it's so crazy how this works in Russia. Putin has personally ordered Russian history books to be rewritten, and recently they have been done, and the new history books, it's made up by him. He just made it up as he is seeing it completely delusional. And he's accusing this very same thing from the West, so he has an amazing ability to make something up and just project it outside and accuse the world of doing that. That's the Russian ability. It's a forever blame-shifting game. It's a forever giving away responsibility to everybody else, blaming everybody else, never seeing their own role in some processes. I've also seen how Russian people in mass adapt this. If something happens, they immediately turn away, they turn the blind eye, they become apolitical. I recently saw a fight in a bar. I was surrounded by Russian guys. I stayed and watched and made sure, I wanted to see what happens, and it's a conflict. Every Russian guy was running out of the door, like, oop, no conflict, not from me. So I see this looking away from oneself's responsibility in a situation in Putin. And he's also spreading that to the Russian people, the Russian mindset. I'm never responsible. Everybody else is to blame. That's the mindset. Moreover, history has been used as a weapon of ideological struggle. Yep, that's how it is in Russia. And we need an adequate instrument of defense capable not only of repelling, but also preventing any such attacks. Veterans, historians, and researchers with whom I have met on numerous occasions have repeatedly spoken about the need for this. Yeah, I remember one of this meeting in a video. Putin met with a cartologist, the guy who is expert on maps. And they were looking at old maps like from the 1500s, even before I think, an old original maps. And this video was supposed to prove that Kiev and Rus did not exist as based on Kiev. It was, always Moscow, because that's what Putin is teaching Russian people. And on that map, it clearly said Kiev as the capital. It was noted, it was written, it was even noted on the down of the map with a letter, with a text saying that it's Kiev and Rus, everything based out of Kiev, the stronghold of Orthodox Christianity in the Rusland, Kiev and Rus. And Putin is like, there's clearly no Kiev in this map. And the cartologist, being afraid of flying out of the window, was like, yeah, I don't see Kiev anywhere. It was right there. It's like, where is Kiev, That's how it is. That's what they teach. That's what comes down from the top in Russia. My friends, now I guide you to a fundraiser. We're giving 3 cars to Ukrainian Special Forces. I'm going in 1 week to Ukraine, to Kiev, and we have 36,000. You guys have gathered 36,000 out of 48. So the link is in the description below. Go and donate. It's NAFO 69 Sniffing Brigade and I'm part of it. We're giving a car to the unit of GUR, the 3rd Assault Brigade, and another unit which is secret. And I'm going, they're gonna give us weapons training, they're gonna give us perhaps night vision training. It's gonna be a great video for you, but let's give these Ukrainian units these cars. We're lacking 10,000 to reach the goal. I know you guys can do it. My friends, recently the Western mainstream media have started to report about Kim Jong-un, the leader of North Korea, supposedly coming to Russia to meet Putin personally. Kim Jong is very hyped that Russia needs ammunition and weaponry, since Russia is lacking almost everything on the front lines. North Korea has piled up this from China for years, decades. They have a lot of artillery munitions, small arms fire, Kalashnikovs, old D-30 howitzers. They have a lot to give to Russia. And Kim Jong is hyped that there is a country now that needs them. Nobody needs North Korea, they need China. Now suddenly there's a huge country that needs everything North Korea has in the weapons terms. So Kim Jong is hyped, somebody needs him, I gotta go to Russia. And well, the joke is that Russia and North Korea actually built a bridge of friendship. I'm not kidding you. Look, this is North Korea, this is Russia. They have a land border. And this is the bridge of friendship, the only connection to Russia from North Korea physically over land. It's a bridge over this river and it's a railway bridge to, establish some kind of trade or something. The bridge of friendship comes from North Korea and ends in Russia, or was it the vice versa? The bridge is built, the rail is built on top and it just ends into empty ground. There is no connection. The railway just ends on a field. That's it. They never built it. The friendship was never finished. So whatever North Korea wants to give, there is no physical connection in between those two countries. It doesn't matter that they have the bridge of friendship, the railways are not connected. So in any way of bigger quantities of military aid North Korea wants to give, they need to complete their bridge of friendship fully. So that takes time. So yeah, we might see Kim in Russia, but North Korea and Russia cannot physically share anything unless they complete this infrastructure project, which has taken, 10 years already. So I find it a little bit funny. United States National Advisor Jake Sullivan said recently that North Korea will pay the price. This is his quote. North Korea will pay the price for any military aid given to Russia. This is United States official threat to North Korea. So this thing is getting global. North Korea is happy somebody wants them, but they're making, United States is their enemy already, but US is gonna make it more serious now. And talking about United States getting more serious, in the recent aid packet, Joe Biden approved the sending of depleted uranium ammunition to Ukraine. I think it was the UK who was the first to send depleted uranium ammunition, but now United States has followed suit and they are agreeing to send it. Now this ammunition can be fired from Abrams tanks, destroying Russian tanks more easily, because this depleted uranium is incredibly tough and hard and it's meant to penetrate heavy armor. Just go through it like from butter. And what it does, it vaporizes metal in a way, or a lot of metal and depleted uranium dust particles explode around when the round goes into the armor. There's a dust particle of metal and it ignites, so it's burning metal and depleted uranium. So it's a very deadly combo. It's a very effective ammunition with a high destructive power. It's not a game changer, of course, in this war, but these things help. Combine these things and it is a game changer. Why it's such a big deal is because people protesting that, or protesting the usage of uranium ammunition, they're saying that it leaves a debris of radioactive dust around it, or the shells or the ammunition itself is left on the battlefield, and depleted uranium will stay radioactive for a very long time. Of course, the levels are small and it's nothing compared to active uranium, but it still has a higher level than nothing, higher level of radiation. So that's why people are so against it. Now, I am all for it. Russia was using cluster bombs from day one, and it took 1.5 years for the Western countries, for the United States to send cluster bombs for Ukraine. So Ukraine is like fighting on crutches. It's an uneven fight. They have to box with one hand behind their back. So give them depleted uranium ammunition, I say. I'm glad to see this decision. In this video, my friends, we see what is done to collaborant cars on the left side, Russian-occupied side of the Dnieper River. Collaborators' cars, tires are punched, the Ukrainian trident is drawn on top of the car. The partisan movement is incredibly active and the Ukrainian intelligence is deeply connected on the Russian-occupied side of any Ukrainian territory. So this means in the long term Russia cannot occupy Ukraine. Ukraine will be like Afghanistan was for the Soviet Union. An army supposedly infinitely stronger than what they were fighting against, still lost because the people's mentality is so against the occupiers. And this will always win. It's like Russia is bleeding themselves slowly to death right now. The same happened to Soviet Union, it's happening to Russia now. And now, my friends, the part you're all waiting for, the naming of the Patreons. I will read you 5 new patrons with my Estonian pronunciation. Kennet. Olajon Bjorkum. What? How many times I've said your weird name? Olajon Bjorkum, I think 3rd time at least. Thank you, my friend. Georg Khan, Ricardo Tarango, Andreas Karger. That could be Estonian, but it could be also one of the Nordic countries. Let me know where you're from. Thank you to those 5 people. And if you like my channel, you know what to do. Also, my friends, go and check out my Instagram. No reason to do it. Just go and do it. That's the best way I plug my Instagram. And as always, my friends, until my next video, which will be tomorrow, stay cool and bye-bye.